Hey, what's up, guys? This is Johnny coming at you with the Ninja Wealth Exchange podcast, where we talk about real estate, investing, and everything beyond to build your wealth. So, of course, we want to make sure that you have strategic plans and you're on your way to build a really, really nice nest egg. Today, we bring you a special guest, Fu Yang. He is a financial advisor with Strategic Retirement Partners. He's going to go over with us on how to build wealth or how to build a wealth building vehicle to help us with our financial budgeting, as well as securing a long term strategy, investment plan, and budgeting to be able to build the wealth over time. Um, we're going to be talking about his journey a little bit. We're going to be talking about how he works with clients and what it is to be a financial advisor, as well as what kind of advice do you provide. So, welcome, Fu.
Thanks. Glad to be on the show here.
Yeah, no, super glad to have you, man. So, we'll just go ahead and jump right into it. So, I had some questions, like so. Um, you have a few years here in the financial advising field, but prior to that, I'm sure you had some experiences with handling money and all that stuff, right? So can you just go over kind of your background and how you ended up in financial advising, as well as what's your relationship with money?
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, my current role, of course, is a financial advisor with Strategic Retirement Partners. Um, how I fell into this industry, I didn't start my professional career in finance. I actually have been in IT for about a decade. Um, and then I always dabbled in the stock market. I always wanted to uh, learn more about uh, financial wealth, right? And so when I was younger, I just picked up books like Dave Ramsey and Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And so I kind of had this personal financial background that that's just something I wanted to learn so I can better my future self. And then really um, during COVID, I had a few friends reach out just asking for guidance on how to navigate their retirement portfolio because every day was just like red, right? So I
Yeah,
I
during those
realized
days, yeah.
that there's a need in this space for our community. And so I went back to graduate school, got my master's in family financial planning. And
Wow.
yeah, so I've been doing this for a few years now.
Nice, nice. So, when you were reading those books, right, like Rich Dad Poor Dad and the Dave Ramsey books, was that back in your high school days, or were you already
No,
kind of in your career, your IT career already?
yeah, so I was in my IT career already. It was probably like in my early 20s when I started like really looking into these stuff like how do I figure this stuff out for my future self and to better have a better life for my kids, right? So I started reading those books. I actually started like passing some of these information on to friends and family as I
Mm.
was learning them. And I put together PowerPoints and invited friends over just to give them like high level overview of you know the differences between simple interest and compound interest. Just building good savings habit, saving early, those type of things. But yeah, back in 2020, I decided, I wanted to do this for a living because I'm passionate about helping my community. So I went back to school, and here I am.
That's awesome, man. That's super cool. I love that you're always you were helping people even before you jumped into the career, right? You're already kind of assisting them with some of their financial advice. Now, like it's not anything that you need a license to do, right? When you first started, but now that you actually have your license, you're doing it as a career. So that's uh super cool, man. Super cool. So um like as you were developing, like what made you transition? Like what, like outside of, was it just your friends and family that really needed your help, or like was IT just not for you, or what's the, like what
Yeah,
made you jump into, because like I think that doing advisory is very very similar to being self-employed, right?
yeah,
And it's tough trying to find clients and all that stuff. What made you make that decision?
yeah. So yeah, it wasn't an easy transition. I'll tell you that. Basically, I had a good job in IT. I was the IT guy for a small startup firm. We had about 200 employees. I was part of a two-man IT team there, and it was a great job. Super hip company, but I
Nice.
felt like there was a ceiling for me because the company they didn't want to evolve or build the IT team.
Okay.
Um, and so, I thought about continuing IT, maybe finding some IT job somewhere else, but I was really passionate about finance and providing just answers for people out there. Um, and so I was gonna eventually go back to school, but I didn't know what I was gonna go into, and so I realized like, hey, you know what? Maybe I should have career switch and pivot, get into finance, and really help people out there, legit the legit way, instead of just
Hmm.
giving
On
advice
the
here and
side,
there.
right?
Get licensed and really do this for a living. So it's a hard grind. Every day we're out
Mhm.
there trying to talk to anybody that will listen to us, because um, you know, the community that I'm trying to serve, there's a lot of trauma, right? There's a lot of when it comes to finances,
Mhm.
our community, we really don't like to expose ourselves to our vulnerabilities. And then
Mhm.
also there's been a lot of scams, so
Yeah.
there's that loss of trust. So when they hear that I'm a financial advisor, it's like a uphill battle I gotta climb already. But really, I'm here to serve my clients and help put people in a better spot.
That's good, man. That's good. That's like, I think that like I agree with you. In our community, in the Hmong community specifically, in the Twin Cities here in Minnesota, because you're from here in the Twin Cities, right?
Yep. Yep.
Um, so in the Twin Cities here, there has been random things that have taken place, and the honest truth is that, like, so that this is for people to know that a lot of our community actually came from overseas, right? And they didn't come with anything, and so to have financial success, that's one thing. To be able to manage the finances, that's a whole nother thing that they had to learn, right? I think a lot of them were farmers to begin with when they first came over,
Hmm.
and I could totally see that, like most farmers that I know, right? They prefer green cash, right? Like some of them don't even bank. And so I could see how that could be somewhat difficult. But at the same time, like now that we're educated, right? Like you and I and a few of other people that we work with, you have to have financial advisors because you need people that are very, very well of the markets, very well aware of what's going on, and they do it for a living so that they're professionals at it. And so I think that's truly awesome that you're coming back to the community and you're providing those services to the community, even though it's difficult and challenging.
Yeah.
You're still here to help, so that's super cool, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when it comes to the younger folks, I think they're pretty educated. Accumulating and saving, that's pretty easy to do. You can set that and be passive at it. But it's the older folks, the folks kind of like my parents, who are just getting into retirement and trying to figure it out. Like, hey, how I have this 401k. It's not a lot, but how do I make distributions so maybe I stay under a tax bracket,
Mhm.
or how do
Mhm.
I make this last until I pass away? How do I
Yeah.
invest it? Do I take it all out? Probably not the best idea. You're gonna pay a ton of taxes on that.
Mhm.
But how do you navigate that, right? Really, these older folks, when they retire, they think that Social Security is just going to be there for them 100%, right? But it's if they're just counting on Social Security, they're going to have a drastic change in their lifestyle because Social Security is not going to provide 100% of their paycheck for them in retirement.
Right.
So I think it's important for us, the young folks, to definitely start thinking about investing and building wealth for the future. But then right now, I'm trying to figure out things for my parents too. Like how do
Mhm.
we, you have this lump sum of money. How do we best distribute that so that it will last you? How do we stay under a tax bracket so that you can qualify for some of these other benefits, things like that,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, I think people don't realize, but like something that, like if you retire, they might cover your health insurance, right? From a state perspective, once you're retire of retirement age, right? And you might get that, Social Security income, but sometimes they don't cover for things like dental work, right?
Hmm.
And so you have to be prepared to make sure that you have some of those costs taken care of. Now, like I want to take a step back. I want to take a step back. So, can you explain to us what you think is financial advising, and then what kind of qualifications does it take to be one, and what kind of certification should we be looking for when we do pick one out?
Yeah, that's a good question. So basically, financial advising, you really need a a license to practice, right? To give advice, a financial advice, and charge a fee.
Okay.
So when you're looking for financial advisors, there's a lot of people out there that call themselves financial planner, but they're not properly licensed, and they're out there giving out financial advice, and really they're liable for the advice that they give out. So
Hmm.
financial advisor, if you're looking for a financial advisor, I would suggest vetting through them, making sure that they're licensed at the very minimum, have a Series 65 license. That license gives the advisor, they can give out financial advice and charge a fee for that. Uh, there's a Series 66. It's similar to the 65, but there's some additional. It's like the Series 65 and 63 combined. Um, and then there's the Series 7 and the Series 6. Those licenses give advisors the ability to sell products. Um, Series 7 gives the advisor ability to sell stocks, um, ETFs, things like that. And then the Series 6 gives advisors ability to sell mutual funds. But really making sure that you're asking good questions when you're looking for an advisor, making sure that they're properly licensed to actually give you advice, and then after that, making sure that your values are aligned, that you set those expectations early, right? Because you could put a plan together for a client, and they can say that, hey, I'm going to follow this plan, but then the advisor, they need to hold the client accountable too, to make sure that they're following their
Hmm.
course. You put this plan together, you should follow it, right? In
Hmm.
market ups and down, advisor needs to be proactive, calling their clients, making sure that their clients understand that, hey, your investment, it's this time horizon. Don't freak out. I'm here for you. Don't do anything, drastic. Don't go into your account, start selling stuff. You know, we got to prepare our clients for that. So we got to set those expectations for our clients. We can't give our clients a call every day and give them a recap of how the market performed. But really, we're here to be a resource for them. So yeah,
Nice. So, like a lot of financial advisors, they have all these certifications out there, right? Like they
yeah.
have these like designations, these certifications. Can you tell us a little bit about it? Like maybe what is a CFP? What is a CFA? And what kind of fiduciary responsibilities do you guys have?
Yeah, so the CFP, so these credentials certifications, they're not required to practice, right? Um, Typically, it's the series minimum, the series 65. But the CFP is kind of like the gold standard in our industry.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the certified financial planning
Better.
certification.
Okay.
Uh, but really, to obtain that, you need to have a college degree. You need to complete the education courses for the CFP. There's a 6 hour exam that you need to pass, and
Six
then
hour exam.
it's a 6 hours. It's crazy, yeah. And
That is
then
crazy.
and then you need to complete 6,000 hours of experience before you can even get your
Wow.
certification. Yeah. So
Okay.
the CFP is kind of the gold standard. It's not required, like I said, to practice. The CFA, Charter Financial Analyst, that's a rigorous exam, a difficult exam also, but that's more of portfolio and investment management. So
I see.
there's these different credentials that you can go into, like the RICP. It's more geared towards retirement income planning. So when they have these credentials, that means that they probably specialize in a lot of these other things, right? Um, so yeah, you don't need them to practice, but there's a lot of good uh, financial advisors out there that just has the Series 65 and Series
Got
7
it.
licenses.
Are those like, pretty heavy tests too to get those series 63, 65, 66, series 6,
Yeah,
series 7?
yeah, I wouldn't.
Pretty rigorous.
Yeah. I would say it's not easy. It was pretty difficult, going through it, and taking that test. But hindsight's just like, oh, okay, it wasn't that bad. But um, while you're going through it, it is tough. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I've heard that, different financial advisors have different pay base, right? I've heard of like fee base or fee only and like commission base.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So compensation, the structure, the different structure can be appropriate uh, for the client depending on what the situation is, right? Really, kind of what matters is making sure that the advisor they're being transparent on how they're getting paid. So typically, there's three ways advisors get paid. The first one is fee only. Fee only is advisors charge for the specific service they're providing, and then also a percentage of the assets that they manage. And then there's sales related, which is that's just commissions, right?
Mhm.
They get paid a sales commission for the products that they sell. And then there's fee based. So there's fee only, sales related, which is commission, and then there's fee based, which is a hybrid of the two, right?
Okay.
So a lot of those that work in the broker dealer side, where they hold a Series 7 and a Series 65 or 66, they're a hybrid. They get paid for the assets that they manage, but then they also have the ability to recognize some needs for their clients, whether that's insurance product, annuities, things like that, and sell
Mm,
those to their clients and get a commission off of that.
interesting. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's good to know. So when you go out there and you actually are looking for a financial advisor, someone that's going to provide you with financial advice about how to plan for your future, um, you're looking at someone that has to be licensed. If they are certified, that's great. If they're not, as long as they're licensed, they can still produce work. And then there's different compensation structures. So you're going to want them to talk to you about the compensation structures. Now, are there specific red flags, right? For like, like a mom and pop place or a mom and pop individual, like family, when they come to you, right? how do you know like who's good and who's not, and like what should you watch out for?
Yeah, for sure. So definitely some red flags are, people who are making guarantees. Like in the
Mm,
investment world, there's never guarantees on your investment, right? Returns. You can end up losing your investment. Uh, so a good advisor will actually vet through a client and understand their risk tolerance, making sure that their investment is suitable for them. So right off the bat, advisors shouldn't be making investment recommendation without first understanding the client's picture, where they are, or can they even afford this investment if it goes south, right? Um, and so we got to get the client profile to understand where they are. If a advisor is just making outrageous claims that there's this type of returns, um, things like that would be red flags I would be looking for. And then also making sure there's a license. I can't stress that enough. There's been many times in our community where people have been scammed. You know, just ask them if they're licensed, and making sure that they hold those uh, those investment licenses.
okay. No, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I didn't even like it doesn't occur to me like because I'm not a financial advisor, right? I'm a mortgage guy and a real estate guy,
Yeah.
right? So I can coach you around that stuff. But and sometimes it seems like financial advice, right? Because we're talking about credit, we're talking about, income and so on. But I guess that was my question to you, is that like, do you need to look at someone's like credit report and pay stubs to help them financially? Like, do you guys want like a full picture of their portfolio in order to determine how to help them plan, or do you guys just like put together a plan based on what they think they can afford?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, what I usually tell clients is the more information you give me, the better recommendation I can give you, right?
Got
So,
it.
to help me help you the best I can, right? I would need the full picture, right? I would need
Got
to
it.
know, like, everything we talk about in our meetings are confidential. I'm not gonna go out there and be like, blah blah, only got this much, or he's in this much debt, right? So I would
Hmm.
need to know, like, how much debt you're in, how much income you're bringing in annually, how much contributions you're making to your 401k at work, if you are, what
Hmm.
retirement looks like for you, who's in your family, do you have kids that are young, are you still building a family, do you have kids that are off to college already, what's important to you in your life, are you trying to save for college for your kids, you know how old are they? How many years do we have until they get to 18 where they go to college, right? Are you in the middle of
Hmm.
saving up for a house? Things like that, right? So once we get the
Yeah.
full picture, we utilize a software. We put this all together and we create a plan for the client, whether depending on
Hmm.
what their goals are. If they have high priority in retiring, planning for retirement. All right, let's look at that goal. When do you want to retire? How much money do you want to retire? Can you live off of just 80% of your current income? Does that work? Do you need 100% of it? Right. So once we
Hmm.
map that out, and then we follow that plan, right? You know, if we don't have enough money in retirement, are you willing to work part time? Can you delay retirement? Things like that. That's why we need the big picture so we can plan those long term goals and make adjustments as we go throughout the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys aren't just like planning like like retirement, you guys are also doing like a life balance, lifestyle, situational, like college planning and all that stuff. So it's kind of all inclusive then. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah. So we look at a lot of different stuff. We look at insurance, making sure that we manage that risk if something were to happen to you. Is your
Okay.
family going to be okay? If you have young children, we want to make sure that we're protecting that. We look at taxes. We're not, that's a big one, right?
Hmm.
We're not CPA. We can't file your taxes for you, but we want to make sure that uh, we're whatever investment strategy that you're in, that it's tax efficient, so that we keep more money in your pocket and out of Uncle Sam's.
Hmm.
Other things we look at: estate planning. We're not estate lawyers. We can't we can't draft up any legal documents, but we do conduct like an analysis to make sure that, hey, it's probably time to start looking at a will, or making sure that you have a power of attorney. Something happens to you, that somebody can um, they can manage your finances for you, things like that. And if uh, we can't draft up these will, but we do conduct those analysis. And if our client needs, we have a handful of referrals that we can refer partners that we can refer them to.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice. Nice.
yeah,
Okay, so let's jump back into some of the investment advices, right? So, okay, so we know that you guys, help teach discipline and plan for discipline around, uh, your financial portfolio, as well as having accountability. Like, do you check with your clients quarterly, or like? I know I have a financial advisor, and he checks with me on an annual basis, right?
yeah. So as fiduciaries, right? So fiduciary, that words get thrown around a lot, but really fiduciary means that we have to act in the best interest of our client. We have
Hmm.
uh, 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 a standard to loyalty to our client, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so if there's a conflict of interest, we need to disclose that to our client. And if we can get past that, we got to refer our clients out. But going
Hmm.
back to meeting, so we meet on an annual basis to review the client's account. But then, our doors are always open to
I
meet.
see.
If there's life changes, uh, we as advisor, we want to know those things, right? Like if you had a
Mhm, mhm.
baby, or if you got married, or you got divorced. We want to know those things so we can adjust the plan accordingly.
Got it. Okay, very cool. So let's break down some of the tools that you guys use, and some of the um like products, right? So earlier you kind of mentioned ETFs and mutual funds and stocks and such. So for those that don't know, like what's an ETF?
Yeah, so ETF, it's short for exchange traded funds. In basic term, think of it as a basket where there's all these investment products inside, right? We'll just call them stocks to keep it simple, right? So we have this basket, and there's these stocks inside this basket. Say there's Facebook, there's Nvidia, Tesla, Google. It's all inside this basket. So an
Mhm.
ETF is this basket, and you can go to the market and you can buy a piece of this basket, and then essentially
Mm,
you're owning all those investment in this basket. So that's basically what a ETF is. It's traded on the market during market hours. Typically, you can trade them after hours too, but it's typically traded during market hours. It's a way of diversifying. Uh, Instead of just buying one individual stocks or just a couple handful of stocks, and then the cost is relatively low compared to other investments. Um, so yeah, basically, ETF is a basket of investment products. It could be sector focused, like it could be technology, only technology stocks in this basket, or healthcare and so forth. Whatever you want to invest in, pretty
got
much.
it.
Yeah,
So minerals, energy, it could be
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. What about mutual funds, right? Like I hear that term a lot, but I don't like I've never looked into it to find out exactly what it is, but is that similar to an ETF or?
Yeah, yeah. So it's similar to it's similar. It's like the basket concept. The thing is, it usually it's actively managed, meaning that there's a
Mm,
manager actively managing that basket,
okay.
uh, and it doesn't trade during the trading day, so it doesn't get traded like stocks. So what happened is it works on a issue and redeem type of transaction. And so typically at the end of the day, mutual funds they get calculated. Their net it's called net asset value. It gets
Okay.
calculated, and that's the price to own a piece of this basket,
Mm,
to own a piece of this mutual fund, right?
mhm.
And so, say that you own XYZ mutual fund and you wanted to sell it, that transaction wouldn't be processed until the end of the day, right?
I
And
see.
so, yep. So you would have to wait, and if you put in that order after market hours, it wouldn't get processed the end of
Okay.
the next business day.
Oh,
Uh,
wow. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So if
So,
in that day the market shifts, right,
mhm,
then you take a loss. Now, if it goes up, right, if it shifts upwards, then it'd be a good thing. But if
right.
it doesn't, you still have to sell at the end of the day. Versus
Yeah,
an ETF, it'd be like at during market hours, I
yeah,
take it. Okay.
yep, yep, yep.
Very
Exactly.
cool. Okay. So and you guys have individual stocks too, right? Like people that come to you can also ask to purchase individual stocks.
Yep. So we would talk to the client, make sure that they understand what they're investing in. But we can open up different types of account, right? We can open up individual retirement accounts. We can, if they wanted just a brokerage account, they can open that up and they can
Mm,
trade whatever stocks they would like. We have access to money manager if there's a specific money manager they want to follow. Um, so yeah, we have access to that.
okay. So in our community, oftentimes we run across entrepreneurs, right? People who are self-employed. Do you guys have like self-directed IRAs too? As a part of
Yep,
that, like those products? Okay, very
yep.
cool.
So we have
So,
IRAs, Roth IRAs. A lot of folks, you know, when they have 401ks at work, right? And when they leave their job, they typically just leave it at their workplace. They don't know about rollovers or if they could roll it over into something in their name, that type of stuff. So we help clients with that too, understanding. All right, if you leave it at your old firm, these are the pros and cons. You can roll it over to your new job. These are the pros and cons. You can roll it over into an IRA in your name. These are the pros and cons, right? And we
mhm,
leave it up to the client to make the best decision for themselves.
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's super cool. So like in the real estate world, we tend to like to have self-directed RAs because we want to invest in real estate. And so
Hmm.
we would take the retirement account and actually invest in real estate. So of course, having the self-directed IRA allows us to write a check and then allow us to invest a portion of our IRA into the real estate that we're purchasing, right? So we'll see those kind of things. But I have a personal question. Now, you don't have to answer this. I know that there's a lot of regulations that you're under, and you can only speak like privately on certain things. And so if you can't answer this, don't answer it. But I want it's just something that I've been I ran across and I don't know if it's true or not. But I heard that if you had a 401k from your old employer, because I do, right? I have a 401k from my old employer that I've just left it there. Like I don't know, haven't even checked it in a while. So um it's been just sitting. And so
Yeah.
my thoughts were I heard that you could actually roll it over to a Roth IRA slowly.
Yeah. So you can do a backdoor Roth. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Or you can do
Okay.
a conversion, right? You can do a conversion, but then you would have to pay taxes in that year that you converted. Hmm.
So the idea behind it is I heard that you don't have to pay taxes if you put just a limited amount into your Roth on an annual basis. I don't know if that's true or not, but
I'm not too sure about that because it's
okay.
pre-tax dollars. The government, they're gonna want their taxes.
Right. That's my thoughts too. But
Yeah,
I figured, I'd ask a professional. You guys might know better than I do. And if you don't know, that's totally okay. You can definitely, look into it and then get back to me. But if I think if that's true, right? If like, because I'm no longer with that employer, right?
yep.
And I've been self-employed for quite a while now. Like, I don't know how long, but it's been a while. And so that being said, like I said, the account's just sitting there, and my assumption is that there are other people like me, and if we can convert it into a Roth, which like you said is a non-tax or a pre-tax account, right?
Hmm.
Then that would be really really cool, because then we can just convert it over, and if we just put a limited amount in there, then we don't meet that threshold where they're going to tax us on all of that money, right? So I mean, I'm sure it's gonna be crazy hard to do like a $2 million account, and I don't have $2 million in my like previous employer's 401k, but like maybe if it's just like 25,000, is that something that's possible? So,
Yeah,
um,
you can do a conversion, but we'd have to look into that to see if it makes
got it.
sense because I don't know how much income you bring, but it might put you over a certain tax bracket, right? So we gotta
Yeah,
analyze
probably.
that to make sure that it makes sense for you, right?
I see.
But some of the things when people leave, so if you have under 7,000 at your old workplaces 401k, they usually kick you out of the plan, right? You're kicked out of the plan, and then usually they open up an IRA for you, and they move that money to the IRA for you. If it's over 70, if it's over 7,000, they usually keep it in the plan.
Hmm.
However, they're not obligated to update you on anything. Um, and then also on top of that, there's some plans where if it's sitting in there and you're no longer an employee of theirs, they charge a inactive
Fee.
fee. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, you weigh those pros and cons, and if it makes sense for you to move it, you can definitely move it. If you needed to take a loan out of it, you would need to get their permission to get that
Mhm.
loan, right? Things like that.
Okay. So interesting. Like we'll have to talk on the side.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely, absolutely,
that.
for sure. Let's do some financial planning, man.
All right, all right. So you guys help with budgeting, right? From an income perspective for savings as well as for building your net worth or your wealth. And then you guys help with life balances, savings and investing, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys work with like emergency funds? Do you guys do any like helping people to say, okay, this is how much you need to save for emergency purposes? Because like not everybody knows how to calculate how much emergency funds they're supposed to have, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So we do. We look at that. That's something we definitely look at. Pretty much right away when we put the financial plan together to make sure that, hey, before we invest in anything, do you have any rainy day funds, right?
Hmm.
And typically, general guidelines for dual income earners for a family, uh, it's usually 3 months of expenses saved, right? And you really want that in in accounts that are easily accessible. We don't
Hmm.
want that uh, in the stock market, right? Because
Right.
the market might be down when we need that money, right? So we really
Yeah.
want to put that in safe buckets, and then for single income family, you really want to have 6 months of emergency fund. Now that's just kind of a general guideline,
Okay.
and you really it varies depending on what the family needs and what they're comfortable with. You know.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you have to go out to the movie, right, that's technically not an emergency fund situation.
No, it's not, man. It's like, oh, like, I told you, like a year and a half ago, or a year and a half ago, we had my baby, and she
Hmm.
was born premature. We had that conversation before, and that really that was a curveball, and that put us out of work. We had to go to the NICU pretty much every day for like 3 months, right? And,
Wow.
and so, these are things we don't plan for, and having
Right.
a emergency fund can really help you save you from losing your house or your vehicles. So
Yeah.
that's why you need emergency funds for the things you can't plan for.
Yeah. They're unpredictable in life. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Really good. That's really good. Okay. So, as a professional, right, do you have to do continuing education?
Yep, we do. So we gotta there's continuing education for our licenses that we gotta do every year. At the end of the year, if we don't, we can't practice. We For the ones that hold insurance licenses, there's CE for that, and then there's also CE if you hold like a certification, like a CFP or something like that.
I see. Okay.
Yep.
So it's going to be more than one level of continuing education. You're going to have to do multiple, especially if you have specific certifications then.
Yeah, yep,
Okay.
yep.
Okay. So that's like in our mortgage world for every state, because I'm an owner of a mortgage brokerage. For every state, we have to renew licenses in all of those states, and every single state has their own level of um, guidelines that they
Yep.
allow and don't allow, number of hours that you have to participate in,
Yep.
specific types of classes, and so I can only imagine that you guys are doing kind of the same thing.
Yeah, yeah, definitely the same. I'm licensed in California too, so California
Nice.
they have like additional hours that you need to meet or different types of courses that you need to meet. So those are like,
Mm.
yeah, courses that you need to take on top of it.
So you're licensed in two states? So Minnesota, or how many states are you licensed in?
Yep. So right now I'm licensed in California and Wisconsin and Minnesota.
Okay, nice. So anybody from Wisconsin can give you a call and kind of go over financial planning. Same with California.
Yep.
But since we're in the Twin Cities, like they could probably just meet up with you, right? Are
Yeah.
most of your meetings, are they face to face, or are they on Zoom, or are they just like a lot of like my mortgage stuff, a lot of it is online. Like it's like once in a long while we'll do a Zoom, but most of it is you're on the phone with them and everything is just like you're sharing screens and stuff. How do you guys conduct your business?
Yep. So, when I first started my career, I worked for a really big firm, right?
Mhm.
And, every day it was, you had to go to the office, you had to wear a suit. It was, pretty much the standard.
Mm,
But
mm.
I was able to meet with clients in person at the office. But since I shifted, to strategic retirement partner. We don't
Mhm.
have an office, so we just work online. So
Nice.
everything is virtual, But I like going out, so I like meeting people. So I'm attending like networking events, trying to meet with people over coffee or have lunch with them, things like that.
Nice.
So I'm open to virtual or meeting in person.
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. Um, so I think, some key takeaways from this, right? Um, to find a financial advisor, you have to find one that's licensed and certified, according to what it is that you need, and then try to find one that works properly with you, right?
Mhm.
Meaning like that they're planning with you so that you can plan according to what it is that you want as an individual. Is that correct?
Yeah, so making sure that your values are
Align.
aligned, right? And then, that you set those expectations because uh, the advisor client relationship, it's really a long-term relationship. It's not transactional. It's not I'm
Okay.
trying to sell you a annuity
A
or a
house.
life insurance policy and then be gone, right? So really it's ongoing, and these relationships can last like multi-generational, right? Because
Okay.
when your parents pass away, their assets are going to go to you. How do we navigate that so that their
Mm,
asset works for you? things like
Yeah.
that, you know. Uh, so it's really long term relationship. Yeah,
So, at what age would you suggest someone seek out a financial advisor?
yeah. So
Or
that's a great
maybe
question.
net worth, right? Like one or the
No,
other.
no. So really, I think everyone needs a financial advisor. It doesn't matter where your income is, because it's good to start building those good savings habit, start planning
Mhm.
for the future. A lot of people think that you need to be super wealthy to sit down with a financial advisor, but that's not the case. We work with everyday, you know, people that are just hardworking, um, and just trying to get out of debt. How do they navigate their work's 401k? How they should be invested in their work 401, how much contribution they should make, things like that, right? Those are
Mhm.
typically some of the questions that we see. It's like, yeah, I don't know where to start, right? And so, really, I think everyone should work with a financial advisor. And going back, it's not reserved just for the super wealthy. I think, if it just puts you in a better financial picture. And then, you know, when you have a financial advisor by your side, you don't have to worry about your finances. You can focus on other things that, taking care of the kids or doing things that you're better at. I like to give this, you know, just this analogy, like, Johnny, you as a realtor, where would you rate yourself, um, at your job, from 1 to 10, right? You're probably a 10, right? Or a nine, you know,
Yeah, I'm a
maybe an
10.
eight. But when it comes to investing, where do you think you fall? Like maybe a 7, 8, 6, right? Well, us professional, we're probably like 8, 9. Some of us are 10. Would you
Mhm.
rather have somebody that's a 9 or a 10 managing your money, or would you rather have you know yourself DIY managing your money, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, so, like, because, I'm a kinda conservative person, right? So, in my hopes is that most people at some point in time, shift over to being conservative, but I think that when you run a business, you have to learn how to manage your money, like, and you have to learn really, really fast, because if you
Yeah,
don't, you just don't know where the money's all going. It's just disappearing, right?
right, right.
Because there's so many things you can spend money on. Like,
Oh
you
yeah,
could spend money on your company car, you can spend money on a brand new computer, you can spend money on advertisement, you can spend money, like, there's like a billion and one things, and if you don't know how to control your money or to budget correctly, you're going to lose track of all of your funds, right?
yeah, yeah.
um
it's easy to justify spending. It's all in your head, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And so, I think that I'm actually, from a financial perspective, I'm actually pretty high on the totem pole, because actually, like, I've been dealing with stocks for a long time, kind of running my own 401k for a long time. And then I average probably about 20% return
Mm,
annually. So it's pretty significant, right?
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but the problem is this, right? I don't have time to do that stuff. I really don't.
Yeah.
Like, um, if I could just, instead of concentrating on trying to handle my finances, if I were just focusing in on my business, I can make so much more money than trying to focus on my finances. And so,
Yeah.
in those kind of cases, people like me, we need people like you to come in, step in, and manage the finances for us, because we just there's only so many places that you can be in at the same time, right? Like,
Exactly. Yep.
you can't. I was just talking to my son. I was like, you can't be in the mountains and on the beach at the same time. Like, it's just like not possible. And so, like, you
Yeah.
have to figure out what it is that you actually want to do and focus in on that. So if you like to be on the beach and food, you're a financial advisor on the mountain, right? Then you can take
Mhm.
care of the mountain and I'll take care of the beach,
Right.
right?
Exactly. Yep.
um so, and I think I got that analogy from what's his name, Alex Hormozy or something. He was kind of talking about that. um but I think that, in order for you to be successful, it is super important for you to build a team. And what that means is, for me, right, I advise my clients on real estate as well as mortgages. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, right? So I
Mhm.
don't I'll tell you what I do, but I'm not certified or licensed to tell you how to build your portfolio. Plus, I don't know all the details behind your portfolio outside of your mortgage and your real estate. And I can tell you how to cash flow, right, on your real estate investments, right, by
Yeah.
from an underwriting standpoint. But I have no idea how to teach you how to handle your stocks while managing a business and everything else, right? Because if you do that, you'll end up where I was, in just chaos, right? Like you're just working all the time.
For sure.
um, yeah, so it's really nice to have a team to be able to network with and have different advice to provide you. And I think, for the listeners, right, if you guys need advice, right, around mortgage and real estate, you can reach out to me. And if you need advice about financial advising, reach out to Fu,
Yeah.
because he's going to have the answers that you're going to need where I can't provide you financial advice, right?
Right.
um so okay, so I think, we're kind of in the last few minutes of the podcast.
Right.
Um we covered a lot, right? We
Yeah, we
covered
definitely did.
how yeah, how to cover a financial, or how to select a financial advisor. What do they do? What can you expect, right, to pay them? We covered like ETFs, mutual funds, stocks, planning. Uh, we even covered that you guys do more than just
Investments, you know.
yeah, investments. You guys are actually like life planning, life balancing with people, and so
Yeah.
I think that that's really really good. Uh, and I take it that you guys, like you and I, we collaborate, right? But you probably also collaborate with other professionals like attorneys and CPAs as well, right? I take it.
Yep. Yep. So, like I mentioned earlier, we look at these stuff, but we can't perform those tasks. Like we can't file taxes. We can't draft legal documents. So,
Trust, right?
yep.
Like a
So we got to make sure that we have a handful of referral partners that we can refer them to.
mm,
Because just like, I can't help my client buy a house or get a mortgage loan. I got to refer them out.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so, and you don't want me helping you buy a house because I don't know the ins and outs. you know. And so,
right.
yeah, so typically advisors have a handful of referral partners that they work together, just so that their values are aligned and that they're treating the client in the best, we're looking out for the best interest in the same respect, right?
Nice, nice. Okay, very cool. All right, so we have some, we're in our last 5 minutes, so we have some typical questions that we always ask. We call them rapid fire, or the Ninja Wealth Exchange rapid fire questions, right? So we ask every
Yeah.
guest these three questions. So number one is, what is your best ninja skill that you are just absolutely a beast at? You're just like super good at.
I would say simplifying complex financial strategies, definitely.
Nice. Okay. Very cool. And then I take it that you continue to hone in on that skill and work on it to become better as you go, just through working with other people, experience, and continuing education, right?
Yep. Continue education, that's a requirement. But then things.
I think you're
Oh, did I
kind
get
of
cut out?
cutting out. Yeah, I think you're kind of cutting out on us.
Okay,
Um, so can
am I
you
okay
just
now?
repeat that? Yeah, yeah, you're good now.
Yeah. So Okay, all right. So, like I said, continue education. That's a requirement. You have to do that. But then, a lot of advisors that have access to a lot of resources,
Mm,
either through wholesalers or their broker dealer. They do a lot of webinars. There's a
nice.
lot of conferences, and then one thing is we also utilize each other. There's a handful of us Hmong advisors that we're trying to work collectively um, to 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 serve the Hmong community. We're all from different firms, but we meet for coffee every month just to kind of sit down and be a support for each other because this is kind of new territory for us mofos. This industry has been dominated by white males, and so we're going to like uncharted territories, and so we're just being a support for each other during these meetings, but
Nice.
also how we look at you know the trends that's going on in our community, how we can help our community out, um, and we're all from different firms, but we're not there to compete with each other because even if we wanted to, we wouldn't be able to serve the whole community individually,
Mm,
right? So this is a subject that we're passionate about. That's why a lot of us got into this industry. Um, so yeah, we work with our peers and we learn from our peers also.
yeah. So, yeah, I was talking to some of your peers before, and I said that we probably have to have you guys on as a panel,
Mm,
right? And just like grill you guys to see, like how we can best use your knowledge.
for sure.
Maybe in the future, right? Maybe in the future. So,
Yeah.
um, we talked about books, right? We have, you talked about Dave Ramsey, and you talked about Rich Dad Poor Dad or Robert Kawasaki, right?
Yep.
Um, Outside of those two, is there any other book that transformed your mindset or your business?
Yeah, so there's a book called The Slight Edge. I think his
Mm,
name is Jeff Olson. The Slight Edge. You know, it's about having the upper hand, right? The slight edge, right? Having a slight edge over everyone. And how do you build that mentally, right? A lot of
mhm,
people think when they want to change for the better, or if there's a habit they're trying to kick, uh, they feel that they can do that overnight, but really you got to start small, right?
mhm,
Just
mhm,
take a step at a time, work on that skill, or if it's a habit you're trying to change, just consistent is key, and if you start doing it little by little every single day, over time that's going to compound, and it's going to change your life. So, uh, yeah, if you ever read that book, check it out, The Slight Edge by
mhm.
Jeff Olson, I believe.
Nice, nice. So that's like I heard the phrase how do you eat an elephant, right? And the answer is a bite at a time, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So no, that's super cool. Or how do you walk how do you begin, or how do you, what is it, walk the path of like 1,000
Some
miles,
miles, yeah,
yeah, or something, and it's with, you begin with your first step,
right, exactly. Yep, yep.
so very cool, very cool. And then finally, so are you in, what city are you in exactly? Like, are you in a suburb or
No,
um
so I grew up in Minneapolis, but I now live in Andover, Ham Lake area. Yep.
okay.
So I'm north of
So
the cities.
in your area, right? What is a must try spot to eat?
Um, I love I love Mexican food. So there's this place called Mrs. Taco in Andover.
Okay.
Super authentic Mexican food. It's super good.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'll have to try that. I love that too.
for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Um,
Check it out.
Mrs. Taco.
Yeah, Mrs.
Nice.
Taco.
Yeah. So if you guys are ever in Andover, go check out Mrs. Taco. That's super
Yep.
awesome. Um, so man, like this has been a really good conversation, right? And our time is up now. Um, Last couple of questions. Where can people find out more about you or the work that you do, or how can they reach out to you? Like, what's your contact information so they can actually reach out to you?
Yeah. So, I'd love to just sit down with anybody that just have questions and see if I can help them out or if we're fit to work together. If not, there's referral. If they align better with other advisors, I can refer them out. But would love to just have an introductory call. My phone number, you can call me in my office. My phone number is 612-474-4025. Or my email address is fyang at srpretire.com.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, man. I think, I can't thank you enough for joining us here at the Ninja Wealth Exchange. To our listeners, if you gain value from this, right, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you know anyone that want to build wealth, please share our information out. Allow them to go through their path to become wealthy. If there's anything that you have questions on, or strategies that you want to talk about, it sounds like Fu is here to have a conversation with you. I'm here to have a conversation with you, especially in our expertise. And so, yeah, we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks a ton.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Johnny.
All right. Thank you.
We'll see you.
See ya.